Hey everyone, Triceratops Jr. here, back with another speed review, this time talking about Psychonauts 2, the game that I've been waiting for so long. If you don't know what Psychonauts 2 is, it's the sequel to the 2007, I believe, Double Fine game, Psychonauts, and it's a continuation of its story as well as the story of the game that came after it, Rhombus of Ruin, which is a VR game, so a lot of people haven't played it. But don't let that worry you. I'll just get right in and I'll talk about it. So first off, I'm gonna try to not spoil anything because I want y'all to play this game. But I think the game's story is brilliant, and it does a phenomenal job continuing the story from Psychonauts 1 and from Rhombus of Ruin. But it does it in a really good way that makes it so you don't actually have to play the first two games. It does a nice little recap at the start, but you don't have to play those games, and you can still understand what's going on in the game, which I think is something that's really important with a sequel. So props to Double Fine on that one. I think that's phenomenal. It's a really, really accessible game, and I think that's going to be a huge selling point for it. The game has great setups and payoffs with jokes, with character arcs, with everything. I think just does a really, really good job. Very, very tightly built game too. It's not loose. There aren't some jokes that are that could be funny. I guess it's funny. You know, they do a good job. In terms of the game's gameplay, the gameplay is very reminiscent of Psychonauts 1, but they add new stuff, new abilities, new items, things like that. So they when you start the game, they start you off with some of your abilities from Psychonauts 1. Levitation, pyrokinesis, telekinesis, that sort of stuff. But as the game goes on, you unlock more and more abilities, which I think just shows how the creative concepts have improved over time to make this new thing. And that's really, really nice. Both games, Psychonauts 1 and this one, have a hub world, but the hub world in 2 is freaking massive. I was genuinely so surprised with how big this hub world was. I thought it was just gonna be a small thing, but no. At a certain point, they're go wild, and you can just explore everything, and it's freaking huge, and there's so much to explore and collect. Just like Psychonauts 1, there's a scavenger hunt type system that will require you to run all over the place to find everything. So it's hard to explain. You know, it's freaking huge for a level-based game to have this giant, massive, extremely big, three words that mean the same thing, hub world. And so it's just really fun to go through. Speaking of the levels, though, every level is super unique and interesting, and I guess new. You know, it's so easy to rehash old ideas, and they could have had you revisit a mine from a previous game. No, everything in this game is brand spanking new, and it's all super fun and unique. Some of my favorite worlds, there's a world that's a cooking show where you literally the judges will give you what you have to cook, and you have to go carry these items and complete these ridiculous tasks in order to complete a dumb recipe that probably wouldn't taste good, but you do it anyway. There's that. There's one that's a music festival, a psychedelic music festival. There's a bowling alley. There's just whole loads. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'll just shut my mouth there. The script for this game, great, just like Psychonauts 1, which is probably one of my favorite video game scripts of all time. It's got that same exact Tim Schafer charm, and to boot, it's got a freaking weirdly star-studded cast. You've got Elijah Wood and Jack Black in this game. Not voices I expected to hear, but I mean Jack Black a little bit, but Elijah Wood, wild. It took me off guard a little bit, but they both do great jobs. And then you have a lot of the cast from the original game returning, which is also super cool to see, especially this many years later, that they're all still around and still wanting to do this project. So it's pretty cool. So the game took me about, I want to say 15 hours or so to beat, and that's not 100% completionist yet. I'm working through collecting all the items in the game for that, but it took about 15 hours, and that was pretty slowly paced because I did take my time. You could beat it faster than that, but I was taking my time to explore and collect stuff. So I think it's a really relatively well-paced game for the $60 price that it has, or free, I guess, if you have Microsoft Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass. but I think it's a good amount of playtime. Plus, you'll get even more if you take that time to explore, talk to everyone, do everything. I would say it's probably a 20 to 25 hour long experience, which I think is really good for the work and heart that's put into this game, because there is so much of both of those things, especially, man, the heart. There were a few times on my playthrough I teared up just a little bit. If people, I streamed through the game, so if people were watching, they might have caught some little glints of tears in my eyes. I was like, ah. Normally, I have a section here where I like say the things I didn't like about the game, but honestly, I don't have anything I disliked about this game. There were some parts which were a little tricky, some weird. The game only auto saves. There's no save function, so there were some parts where the auto saves were a little funky and put you back a little far. But other than that, there's nothing like bad. The game is new, so there are still some glitches in it. Nothing game-breaking, thankfully, and a lot of the stuff that I experienced during my first playthrough has already been patched out, so they're working to fix everything. But all the glitches and stuff are really minor right now, so I won't even hold that against them. Like, it's a new game. These things happen. I'm not one of those people who's going to complain about that. So all in all, Psychonauts 2 is just a brilliant sequel to a brilliant game, and it carries forward the story in like a beautiful way while still branching out and to become its own thing, which is really, really nice and I guess refreshing to see, because so many sequels tend to either hold too much on the weight of the game before it or just go in a completely different direction that makes no sense. And this is just pretty much an ideal sequel, I guess is the best way to put it. I highly recommend this game for anyone, fans of the game, or the past games, or new players alike. I think anyone can have a great experience with this game. And I don't usually give scores to games when I do these speed reviews, but I'm going to have to give Psychonauts a 10 out of 10. Psychonauts 2 a 10 out of 10. I'll give Psychonauts a 10 out of 10 too. Why not? They're both just freaking awesome. So I say, yeah, go play this dang game. Support Double Fine. They've done it again. And while we're at it, can we get a sequel to Brutal Legend? Do y'all remember that game? Jack Black is like a roadie, becomes rock god. Wonderful game. Not many people played it, I don't think. But yeah, Tim Schafer, if you're watching this, wink wink, can we get that Brutal Legend sequel? Cool. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. If you learned a lot or you liked this video, be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if there's any games that you would like to see me talk about in the future. Also, keep your eyes out for some more Psychonauts 2 videos, because I'm not done talking about this game. I just wanted to get this speed review out like right after I beat the game, because I literally beat the game today. Right before recording this, I beat the game. And so these are like my unfiltered thoughts. But yeah, I'm going to do some more Psychonauts 2 videos in the future. I've got some cool topics to talk about within the game, so keep an eye out for those. And yeah, I think that's about it. Peace out, y'all. I'll catch you on the flip side.